Imagine a city where night itself has become a warning, where the moment you step into the darkness, it feels like someone is watching you. This is the story of that city, and it begins in a place where people usually feel the safest. One morning, a group of masked men enter a renowned bank in the city. Everything seems very professional. No panic, no noise. But as time passes, something more dangerous than the robbery itself starts to emerge. These people aren't just breaking into the vault, they're also eliminating each other along the way. The reason is simple: the fewer the partners, the bigger the share. And when the smoke clears, only one person is left standing. He was the real mastermind behind the whole game. He takes the money and disappears with a smile. The question isn't how the robbery happened. The real question is, how does a mind like that even think? Meanwhile, there's a strange sense of calm on the city streets. Crime is no longer as brazen as it used to be. Before doing anything wrong at night, people now look up at the sky. The reason is the same: that shadow, which can appear anytime, from anywhere. For criminals, this fear has now become a habit. In the midst of all this, that shadow of the city goes to meet the honest face of the law. It's not just about a bank robbery. The matter runs much deeper. It turns out that the money that was stolen didn't belong to ordinary people. It was underworld money, being moved through different banks to make it look clean. Now the police have names, locations, and a big plan. On a single day, at the same time, they'll strike everywhere at once. But there's another character here, someone seen as a beacon of hope in this whole game. A lawyer who has put the city's biggest criminals behind bars. For him, the law isn't just a book, it's a responsibility. He believes that if the system works properly, there's no need for a mask. When he's told the truth about the black money and the banks, he agrees to help without hesitation. Because he knows too, change hasn't come to this city by chance. Now, the situation is such that on one side is the law, on the other the underworld, and in between them is the person who doesn't follow rules, but results. But the real question still remains. The man who walked out alone, laughing at the beginning, did he just want money, or did he come to prove something else? This is the turning point where the story stops being just about crime and becomes about human thought, fear, and choices. And believe me, what's about to happen next will change everyone forever. There's another interesting thing about this city. The people who fear the shadow at night have no idea who's really behind it. There's a prominent businessman in the city, someone who looks completely respectable. His name is Bruce. Tall buildings, fancy cars, a glittering life. No one could ever imagine that this very man becomes the city's greatest fear in the darkness. Meanwhile, there's a stir in Gotham's underworld. The top criminals are sitting together. The tension in the air is palpable. Suddenly, a screen turns on and a man appears, someone who controls everything from far outside the city. He reveals that the money stolen from the bank was theirs, a huge sum, and now the police also know where the rest of the black money is hidden. The raids are all set, but this man has already made his move. Before the police arrive, he's removed all the money from those places without telling anyone. He claims the money is now safe and that he's leaving the city, going far away. Hearing this, everyone feels a bit relieved, but that relief doesn't last long. Suddenly, a face appears in the meeting that changes the entire atmosphere of the room. His very presence creates unease. He looks at the screen and calmly says that no matter where in the world you run, that shadow will find you. Wherever you've hidden the money, it will be taken, and then you'll all just be gangsters in name only. He reminds them that not long ago, this city used to run at their command. But now the game has changed. And if they want their reign back, they'll have to get rid of that shadow. One of the people in the room asks, if it's so easy, why hasn't it been done already? The answer is quite straightforward. The most dangerous jobs are never done for free. When it comes to money, the demand makes everyone's faces fall. Half, whatever there is, he wants half. Anger flares up. One man stands up, thinking the other is just bluffing. But in the very next moment, the situation flips. With a small gesture, everyone's lives suddenly seem to hang by a thread. Silence fills the room. Now fear is floating in the air. Yet the threat doesn't end there. An offer is thrown out for that shadow. Dead or alive, the price is different for each. The man simply leaves a card, a number, and says, "Think about it. The choice is yours." And he walks out as if nothing ever happened. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, the faces of those responsible for upholding the law are filled with worry. When everything is pieced together, one thing becomes clear. The enemy already knew everything in advance. This means the game was sabotaged from the inside, not the outside. Whoever leaked the information is one of their own, and the person who knows the whole truth has already left the country. He's now in a place from which bringing him back seems impossible. This raises a question. If that man were to return, would the truth finally come out? There is so much confidence in the answer that even lies themselves are afraid, and then that shadow makes a decision. Distance, security, the law, none of it becomes an obstacle. He brings that man back to the city. Now the pieces are in the right place, but the real game is about to begin. Because the enemy who orchestrated all these moves isn't just after money. He wants to break something, and this time the target isn't the city, it's a person. When that man falls into the hands of the law, he presents a strange deal. He won't reveal the location of the money, but he can give the names and addresses of those who ran this entire dark operation. The reason is clear. He's not just a messenger, but the mastermind who keeps track of the whole system. Numbers, names, hideouts. He has them all recorded, and as soon as this information comes out, the city is thrown into turmoil. One arrest after another. It feels as if the backbone of the underworld is breaking. The face of the law that the city trusts doesn't let this opportunity slip away. Hundreds of cases are filed at once against people whose names had never come out in the open before. If all these people end up behind bars for the first time, Gotham will have a chance to breathe clean air. At least that's how it seems. But every time the city finds hope, someone always comes to shatter it. In the darkness, a different game has already begun. People are being killed. The reason isn't money nor power. There's only one question: who is behind the mask? That person is no longer fighting the system directly. He is attacking the minds of people. And as a result, some young men start to see themselves as heroes. The same mask, the same style. They think they too can save the city, but they have no idea what kind of fire they're playing with. Meanwhile, an evening arrives in the life of the city's brightest face. High society, music, laughter, and the people on whom the city's future depends. Everything looks perfect. The host openly praises the man whom people now see as the last hope of the law. The man who, without a mask and without fear, challenged the city's biggest criminals. But behind this glitter lies danger. One piece of news, one signal, and everything changes. The host realizes that trouble is at the door. Without wasting a moment, he pulls his guest away from the crowd. No one understands what's happening, and in the very next moment, that man disappears. Then he arrives, bringing fear along with laughter. In seconds, the party's atmosphere turns as silent as a graveyard. He is searching for just one name. Questions are asked, and when answers aren't given, punishment follows. Just then, a voice interrupts. Someone who, despite being afraid, dares to stand up. She tries to stop him, but before things can get any worse, a familiar shadow emerges from the darkness. This time, there are no secrets, no distance. It's a direct confrontation. Fists fly, screams echo, glass shatters. And amidst it all, there is laughter that reveals this fight isn't just physical. Because now the real question is no longer who will win. The question is, after this battle, will anyone remain the same as before? But just at the moment when it seems the game is about to end, things slip out of control. That crazed smile turns the tables once again. In an instant, a gun is raised, and an innocent life becomes a shield in front of it. The shadow standing opposite pleads to let go, but in response, the tall glass wall in front shatters. A split second of silence, and then everything starts to fall. Without thinking, he jumps. Ground below, trust above. They fall, cutting through the air, and at the last moment, one hand grabs the other. Life is saved. Falling from such a height is not something an ordinary person can survive, but in this fight, the usual rules have already been broken. There is pain, of course, but life remains intact. Meanwhile, in different corners of the city, the darkness deepens. One after another, the strong voices of the law are silenced forever. Then, the person who sat on the seat of justice, who was to deliver verdicts in hundreds of cases, is also removed from the path. It's clear, this isn't just revenge, it's an attempt to shake the entire system. The next target is even bigger. The crowd, cameras, and security are all present, yet the danger does not subside. In the final seconds, an honest officer steps forward. He knows what is about to happen, yet he does not back down. A shot is fired, a life is lost, but the face of the city is saved. Some sacrifices are remembered in history not by name, but by their impact. Now, the truth can no longer be hidden from anyone. That strong face of the law understands that the next threat is deeply personal. He makes a call, gives a warning, tells them to run. In response, only one name comes up, the tallest, most secure place in the city. They decide to go there as it seems most trustworthy. In the darkness, another conversation happens. The question is simple, the answer dangerous. The person says, "You can't catch him. It's his mindset, not strength. You have boundaries, he has none. For him, this is just a game. He wants no money or fame, only chaos. One with nothing to lose is most terrifying." This makes this war different. Here the enemy isn't standing in front of you. He's already infiltrated your mind. And when the battle is between those with boundaries and those without, the question isn't just about winning anymore. The real question is, what kind of person will you become in the end? In the dark, another point emerges. The figure says, to catch him, stop hiding. Unmask, step into the light, and he will find you. It is a challenge. No traps, just an open declaration. The shadow leaves silently. The next stop is the city's last hope, but things look grim there. A man has been caught. Questions are being asked, but no answers are coming. Anger is rising and justice is slowly turning into revenge. A coin is tossed into the air and the decision is left to fate, life or death. At that very moment, a voice comes from the darkness. He stops them, reminding them, "Who does this city trust?" He says, "If anyone sees you like this, people won't just lose faith in one man. They'll lose all hope. You're the first one who has challenged the entire underworld at once. If you cross this line today, tomorrow the law will have no value left. All the criminals you've brought to justice will go free. Everything will be for nothing." Then he says the most important thing, "There is one way. Tomorrow, in front of everyone, he himself will come forward, without a mask, taking all the responsibility upon himself." And with that, he turns away. A voice calls out from behind, "This can't be defeat, you can't do this." But in response, there is only silence. Now the heaviest part of the story begins. A crushing burden has settled inside that man. Every death feels like it rests on his shoulders. He starts to believe that all of this is happening because of him, and gradually, the city also turns against him. The very people he was saving now begin to see him as the enemy. There is unrest on the streets, debates rage on TV, and the hero is now being called a villain. At this point, the fight is no longer just about good and evil. It becomes a battle of identity, responsibility, and authority. The question is no longer whether he will take off his mask or not. The real question is, if he does, who will the city trust? The next morning, the entire city's eyes are fixed on one place. Cameras, crowds, questions, everyone wants the same answer. The mask should come off. The truth should be revealed. The atmosphere is so tense that no one can even breathe easily. Anyone who tries to reason with people, their voice gets drowned out in the noise. Eventually, things reach a point where the person under suspicion is simply arrested. And just at the moment when it seems the shadow is about to step forward, the story takes a turn. From amidst the crowd, the very person steps forward whom the city trusts the most. He says, "This is the truth. He is the one everyone was looking for." Silence falls. Then the law acts. Handcuffs and accusations follow. If true, why the delay? The city watches another hero fall, but the danger remains. The convoy being taken to a safe location suddenly comes under attack. The assault is so fierce that the road turns into a battlefield. It's clear, they haven't come to rescue, but to seize. They want that man at any cost. Just as things are about to spiral out of control, that same old shadow emerges from the darkness. A collision occurs, and the pursuing vehicle overturns. Now they come face to face. Guns are fired, bullets rip through the air, but the man standing in front does not back down. Instead, he moves even closer. Along with that mad laughter, there is also a strange kind of plea, as if he wants the person in front of him to break his own limits. But here, there is a difference, a line that is never crossed. Suddenly, the direction changes. The collision is averted. A price must be paid. The machine crashes into the ground, and everything falls silent. The dust settles, and the shadow lies uselessly on the ground. He moves forward. The opportunity is in his grasp. But just then, a voice from behind, a gun, and the truth comes to light. The man whom everyone thought was dead is standing there alive. It was all a trick, a plan, and this time the hunter himself has fallen into the trap. Now the enemy is in custody. The city feels as if it can finally breathe. But looking into those smiling eyes, one thing is clear. This story is not about to end here, because some people don't come to get caught. They come to break you from within. For a while, the city feels as if the truth has come to light. Through the media, everyone finds out that the person who stepped forward is not the shadow hiding behind the mask. The matter is resolved, and the officer who faked his own death quietly takes his place back in the system. His plan succeeds, and he is also rewarded for his honesty. But amid this relief, another shock awaits. The person who was supposed to be taken to a safe place never actually arrives there. The truth comes out that those who were trusted were not worthy of that trust. The game had been set long ago, and now the face of the law is in the grip of that mad mind. Meanwhile, another confrontation is about to happen. In the darkness, that shadow once again reaches the place where his greatest enemy is imprisoned. This time, there is no distance, no barrier. There is only one question. Where is that person? Every limit is crossed to get the answer. But the one facing the pain does not break. In fact, he enjoys it. He says, "You yourself left him to die." A question arises. Why do you want to kill me? In response, a loud laugh echoes. Killing is not the goal. The real purpose is something else. That shadow is incomplete without him. This fight is not about taking a life, but about breaking the rules. Because those who have no rules themselves are most bothered by the rules of others. Then a name is mentioned, a name that touches the heart. Now, anger can no longer be contained. The attacks become fiercer, but the one facing them remains steadfast. Nothing like fear can even touch him. He says it plainly, "You have nothing that can stop me." In the end, he makes the final move of the game. 2 places, 2 lives, and very little time. Only one can be saved. The decision must be made now, without thinking, without stopping. The shadow runs in the direction where his heart pulls him. On the other side, the law follows its own path, but the truth comes to light upon arrival. The mind game is over. Where there was hope, he is not there. And where he never wanted to be, that's exactly where everything is about to fall apart. In a split second, the sky fills with fire. Explosions echo. One life ends right there. The other somehow survives, but the price is steep. Face, identity, everything changes, and when the smoke clears, another truth comes to light. The bars couldn't hold anyone back. That laughter is free once again. This time, he is not alone. Beside him is the man who holds the map of all the dark paths in his mind. Money, power, and chaos all fall into his hands. This isn't just a defeat, it's a test of principles. And now, the question isn't whether the city will survive or not. The question is, will what remains ever be the same as before? Just when it seems that money will decide everything, another shock comes. The man who ran the entire city on the strength of his wealth now sees everything burning before his own eyes. Piles of cash turn into flames, and with those flames, a life also comes to an end. It's clear now, the goal here was never money. All of this was just fuel for chaos. Meanwhile, inside the city's biggest company, a small truth is about to emerge. An employee pieces things together, and it doesn't take long for him to realize who's behind the mask. He decides to reveal the truth, but just then, a phone call stops everything. The voice is the same, the tone is the same, but the condition has changed. Now, there is no interest in unmasking anyone. An hour is given. If anything happens to this man, a hospital will be blown up. Fear spreads fast, eclipsing the truth. Instantly, a new order comes. All city hospitals are evacuated, sending everyone into the streets. Everyone now knows this threat is real. In that hospital, a man has lost everything. His face, his love, his identity. Pain has seeped into his thoughts. When the smiling man appears, anger erupts, but the response is calm. I had no part in that explosion. I was in control. Revenge is sown, a weapon is offered, and the choice is his. A coin spins again. Burned and broken, he is no longer the same. Between light and darkness, the falling coin turns the story. In the very next moment that hospital turns to dust, there's an explosion, a promise is fulfilled. But this time, there is no death. The city's machinery had thought one step ahead, yet something is still missing. A bus, its passengers, and that burned face, all dissolve into thin air. As evening falls, the city receives yet another message, a recording, a clear warning. What was asked has not been done. Now, as the sun sets, this city will move at my command. The city of millions is left stunned. Stations begin to fill up. Roads are crowded with people trying to leave the city. On the other side, a revenge has taken shape. The man who was once the face of the law is now making his own decisions. At every step, the same coin. With every breath, hatred. He is searching for the man who burned his world. And in the darkness, another hunt has begun. The hunter has turned the city into a giant listening machine to capture every sound. There is a tension between ethics and necessity, but time is running out. The location is found. A building with innocent people inside and deception waiting outside. Faces are masked, weapons are in hand, and from a distance everyone looks like a criminal. That is the trick. If the police make a single mistake, the game is over. But the shadow understands the truth. One by one, he saves people, without harming anyone. And at that very moment, another game begins in the middle of the water. There are 2 ships on the river, both full, both with ticking timers. And now, the question is not just who will survive. The question is, when the decision is placed in the hands of ordinary people, what does a person truly choose? In the middle of the river, 2 boats are slowly drifting along. Both are silent, but within that silence, there is fear. On one side are those whom society has already deemed guilty. On the other side are ordinary people, families, children, and in both places, death is ticking away. Suddenly, that familiar voice echoes from the speakers. The condition is simple but terrifying. As soon as time runs out, both could be blown up. If anyone tries to jump, punishment will be immediate. But there is one way out. Each boat has a button. That button decides the fate of the other boat. Whoever presses it first will survive. Now, the decision is in human hands. The debate begins. Fear starts to scream. Some say, we should save ourselves. Others say, we can't do this. Hearts are trembling on both sides. This is the real game. Not the explosion, but the choice. He wants to see what humans become in a moment of crisis. At the same time, another battle is raging above. A clash between darkness and laughter. The attack comes from behind. For a moment, the tables turn. The opponent seems to be winning and calmly reminds that now the real game will begin. Time is about to run out, but in response, there is trust. It is said, this won't happen, and as soon as the clock strikes 12, nothing explodes, no button is pressed, no one kills others to save themselves. Humanity outweighs fear. Seeing this, the laughter stops, but the game isn't over yet. One last move remains. He too has a button in his hand, the power to end everything. The finger moves forward, but before that, the air changes. A jolt, and he starts to fall. Even as he falls, he is laughing, because if the other lets him die, his principle will be broken. This is the moment he was waiting for. But death doesn't come. A rope is thrown. He hangs, alive. He is told clearly, the game is over now. The rest of his life will be spent behind walls. In response, there is only a warning. The story doesn't end here. A name is mentioned, the same name the city still considers a hero. It is said, when the truth comes out, hopes will be shattered, because even the strongest face can break. On the other side, the same place burned by fire. Another person stands there, but he is not the same as before. In front of him is a family, gripped by fear. His anger is clear. This is revenge. A gun is raised towards a child, when suddenly the darkness speaks again. It reminds that none of this happened by chance. It was a conspiracy, to show the world that even the best person can fall, and that's why he was chosen, because he was the strongest. Once, there were 3 people, a team, law, hope, and shadow, and this team was meant to be broken. Now the question stands, if the hero falls, how will the city be told the truth? This is the decision that is going to change everything ahead. Every moment feels like the game is over now, but the biggest twist is still to come. Harvey Dent, with his anger and his new, incomplete self, flips his coin. He makes decisions, and the coin in his hand decides who will live and who will die. As soon as the coin falls, the burnt side is revealed. The next moment is terrifying. Harvey raises his revolver towards Batman, but Batman comes forward with his principles. He takes a step ahead and pushes him. In the fall, Harvey Dent's life comes to an end, but James Gordon's son is saved. The people of the city think they have lost, that the Joker has won. The Joker's plan has succeeded. Everyone feels that the hero has fallen and given evil a chance. Everything Harvey Dent did would now become public, and even his goodness would be questioned. But Batman hides the truth within himself. He says to put all the blame on him, so that the world will still see Harvey as a hero. James Gordon has to accept this, even if he doesn't feel right about it in his heart. The city comes to see Harvey Dent as a hero, and Batman hides himself, unseen and responsible. This is how the film ends.